Hey, I'm joined this morning by Bill Roberts. And Bill from Sylacauga Grows, and back in 2008 or so, this project started. Bill, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here this morning. You already been to the garden or headed that way?
Headed that way. I had to stop by Thrash's and chew the fat a little bit before I go in.
All right. Tell us a little bit about Sylacauga Grows and in its infancy stage and how it got to where we are today.
Okay. We originally started the garden through some efforts. Back then, Avondale Mills shut down, and we had a job fair at the rec department, and at that job fair, we asked people what their main needs were, and of course, the number one thing was jobs, but the number two thing was food. Mm-hmm. And we weren't sure we could do much about the jobs, but we did feel like we could do something about the food. So we started looking for a place to put a garden, and we had several options, but we wound up in Sylacauga Court. Mm-hmm. And the Sylacauga Housing Authority was very helpful in giving us the property and going out of their way to help us prepare it and get it ready and everything. And we got started the first year, and I think we grew maybe a ton of vegetables the very first year. And it's just grown from there. We now have probably 3 acres of production garden and then another 1.5 acres of fruit orchard. And we have gardens at every elementary school in the county now. So we have 12 gardens that we take care of at the elementary schools. And the kids are just absolutely loving that stuff. We planted watermelons last week at Pinecrest, and they're 120-day watermelons, and when they get back to school in the fall, they'll be ready. And they get real excited about that.
Are we feeding a lot of people?
We are. I can't tell you exactly the number because the way we distribute the food, we give a lot of it to the care house. Mm-hmm. And then we give some to there are 3 soup kitchens here, and we give to 2 of them. One of them's a breakfast soup kitchen, so we don't grow eggs or anything. So
that's an idea, though.
We may have some chickens out there one day. But Mignon Baptist and Sycamore Baptist, we give food to them, mm-hmm. and then anybody that comes up out there that's hungry. Now, we let a number of people from the Sylacauga Court area have beds out there in the garden, raised beds in the garden that they grow stuff themselves. And the only thing we ask them is that they let us weigh their food when they harvest the stuff, so we can keep a record of mm-hmm. of how much is coming out of the garden.
I guess a lot of this work is labor intensive, isn't it?
It is, and we actually have 2 part-time workers out there now, but we also have people that owe fines that can't mm-hmm. pay them. They can come out there and work. Also, people that live in Sylacauga Court, a lot of them have to do 8 hours of community service a month. And there are not a whole lot of community service things out there, so they come and work in the garden, and a lot of times it's in their own garden doing community service.
Used to, I don't know if that's still the case now, you would allow people to come in and purchase, or you would have some kind of ticket system set up?
We did. When we first started, we sold half of what we harvested and gave the other half away, mm-hmm. but there were so many people that just weren't getting anything because we'd sell out before mm-hmm. they got there, that we just decided to just start giving it all away.
Yeah. So, what's in the garden this year for the spring and summer?
We have corn, peas, beans, squash, tomatoes. We will have okra. We've got peppers, cabbage, lettuce. The fruit that's starting to come in, we have blackberries, blueberries, muscadine, strawberries. We'll have apples, pears, plums, Japanese persimmon, mulberry. We've even got olive trees now.
Wow.
And until 2 years ago, I didn't even know you could grow olives in Alabama.
I thought you got them out of a jar.
I thought you had to go to Israel. But we should get some olives off our trees next year. They said it's 3 years to first production.
Are there different growing seasons?
There are. We grow year round, and we plant stuff in the fall. We'll plant turnip greens, cabbage, collards, that kind of thing, and then we'll plant again in February. We'll do the fall stuff again in February, the cabbage and the collards and the turnip greens and stuff. And then in February, we'll start seeds in the greenhouse for the spring crops.
Where's the funding come from for these projects?
Mostly from grants. We've been very fortunate to get some really good grants from places like Alabama Power, Blue Cross Blue Shield, UAB. We also take donations. We have a fundraiser every year called An Evening Under the Stars, which is our one fundraiser of the year, and it's a lot of fun. And we've kind of tweaked it over the years. The first one we had was in July, and I think everybody was soaking wet by the end of that thing. So we have it in October now, and it's a lot cooler and gets dark a little bit earlier, and so the lights come on, and it's
Sylacauga grows. Have not there been other organizations from other cities that have looked into what you're doing here and kind of spun off of that?
Well, they have, and we actually started ours by going up to Birmingham to one called Jones Valley Urban Farm and looking at what they did, and ours is different than theirs, but we have groups come in all the time that want to look at what we do, and then we have some groups from Student Life that come from different denominational churches that will come every year and spend 3 or 4 days in our garden. We have 2 groups each year, and they take it back to their communities and start one. Wow. And so we've had youth groups from as far away as Kentucky, Arkansas, Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, Tennessee. The first group we had was the first Chinese church of Cordova, Tennessee, and it was a United Methodist Asian church. And they brought in about 60 kids, and I had 4 pages of stuff for them to do for the 3 or 4 days they were there. They finished all of it by noon the first day.
Goodness. Now, when you started back in the decade, well, actually 2008 or so, you committed to 1 year.
I did.
It's been a long year,
And then I
man.
said, well, I'll do it another year and another year and another year. But it's such a joy to do it. And I'm extremely fortunate that I've been able to stay healthy enough to do it. And
for those who do not know, Bill was told you'd not live, right?
In 2005, I was given 14 months to live. And so every day is an absolute gift, and it's an opportunity to make a difference for somebody else. And I can't think of a better way to do that than doing this. And it's something that I'm pretty good at, and I look forward to every day.
Now, used to a different watering system and irrigation system than it is today. You kind of enhanced it a little bit.
Well, we have drip irrigation, but we also have 2,500 gallons of rain collection barrels. And so we use, I'd say at least 60% of our water is rain. And now, last year we had a pretty good drought, so we used it all up and had to go back to the city water, but we still, everything is in drip irrigation, so we're real frugal with our water.
Bill Roberts from Sylacauga Grows, our guest this morning. What's the favorite vegetable that comes out of the garden?
Tomatoes, by far.
Now, there are different types of tomatoes, too.
Yeah, we actually have, I think, 12 or 13 different types of tomatoes out there. And anywhere from the little cherry tomatoes up to black tomatoes. And
I've never heard of black tomatoes.
Well, they're a dark red, and there'll be black spots on the inside of them. It's one of my favorites. It seems like it has more acid in it. They say it doesn't, but they make the best tomato sandwiches I've ever eaten. And then we have the big boys and the Atkinsons and the Rutgers and the standard types. But we have probably 150 tomato plants out there. And everybody looks forward to having,
They're ready in June?
Well, we've actually got some that should be ready probably in the next 2 weeks. They're called Early Girl, but they're loaded with tomatoes.
Fantastic.
Now, we also, real quick, I know your time's getting short, but we have these,
Roberts, you know how to talk. Right?
we have these 4x4 beds that are on legs for people in wheelchairs.
That's good.
And so we have 4 people that are coming out there right now in wheelchairs, and they grow whatever they want in there, and we help them with it, but they have water right there. And having been in a wheelchair for 3 or 4 years, I really enjoy being able to allow people to make use of that.
Yeah. Finally, this morning, used to you would have all kind of predators come in there and kind of mess with the garden, rabbits and stuff like that.
Well, the squirrels still get in the corn, but we figured out that they like sweet corn, so we plant 3 rows of Silver Queen just for the squirrels, and then we plant the other corn in another section of the thing, and they leave it alone.
Bill, thanks a lot for being with us.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Bill Roberts, Sylacauga Grows, our guest this morning. We got more Daybreak just ahead.